Hi guys, welcome to another edition of the CaughtaAtPoint show. Today we have two very special guests. One is not a guest, he's a host only. But these days he's made himself the guest and me the host for some strange reason. Welcome, Dave. And we have Sidharth Sharma, who's been with on the CaughtaAtPoint show earlier, and he's back. So today we're going to talk about the upcoming West Indies tour of India, which I think starts from tomorrow with 3 ODIs and 3 T20s. So over to Dave for the first question. So Dave, West Indies is coming to India after I think 3 or 4 long years. The last time they toured was in 2018. And their performance was okay at best. So do you see a marked improvement this time?
Hi guys. First of all, it's a pleasure to be back. And as Pranay had said in the last episode, that we're going to be back with another new piece in a week's time, and here we are. So if not West Indies, but at least we've got a sense of timing going. So and very special to have Sidharth Sharma joining us again today. He was our special guest. He debuted on CaughtaAtPoint last year. And he's here again, so I'm very, very happy to have him on the show, as is Pranay.
And he had a lasting impression too.
Yeah. His podcast gave us the most views last time around. So he's actually our...
No, it was great fun. Talking about cricket.
He's the blackjack.
Our passion.
Our passion, the 90s game, how it evolved and so much. But off to your the answer to the first question, I certainly think that this time around the West Indies are going to give us a lot of fight. And that's simply because I think the quantum of all-rounders in their white ball game has increased. Last time around, they did not have names like Odion Smith, Romario Shepherd. These two players are going to be impact players, hopefully. Let's not forget, both are young, both are raring to go, both have their entire lives and careers ahead of them. They're also eyeing an IPL seat. Recently, they were in great touch. Odion Smith, especially against... Ireland in the ODIs, he came at the death overs, and then he's somebody who doesn't waste much of an opportunity to put a good back on the ball. And then Romario Shepherd was in the form of his life against England. There was this amazing T20 where you won't believe, I don't know whether you watched it, West Indies required around 32, I believe, 32 or I think 34 or 32 from the final over. They lost by 1 run. And this guy was there, not out on a 46 or a 45, and at the other end was Akhil Hussain. So I think Pranay, with the experience of Shea Hope, now he's an experienced campaigner. He's somebody who's
he's not saying from experience base.
Yeah, they're not. So he's an experienced campaigner. He's hit all his 3 ODI hundreds against India in the subcontinent here. So I think that's a big thing. So Shea Hope is there. Shea Hope, Puran, Pollard and Holder will form the experienced part of the nucleus. And then you have rising talents like Akhil Hussain, Romario Shepherd, Odion Smith.
Rothman Powell.
Rothman Powell is there and Brandon King is there. And so I think West Indies have a very good balanced team this time. So expect them to give us a good fight, is what I would say.
So Sidharth, speaking about India, what do you think India's chances are against a blend of experience and youth that they've talked about from a West Indies perspective?
I think India would be raring to go at this moment after the
debacle in South Africa.
The actually very, very bad defeats in South Africa. South Africa actually trashed India. So
but one guy was enjoying, and that's on the other
side. I know. Yeah.
The anti-national that he is.
I can see the smile on his face. Yeah.
Hello, BCCI. Go after him.
So I think they have all the reasons to give their best and come back fighting, because at the end of the day, they always feel we always feel that West Indies is not such a strong team. And we'll be playing them on home ground. So I think that would be advantage India at the moment. And also they are in a probably raring to come back. And especially with Rahul Dravid at the helm, not able to perform so well in the South Africa tour, probably they would be... I still feel they have a good chance. Going with the youngsters and experienced players in the Indian team. And it should be a good fight.
So, Siddharth, do you think that the debacle that India suffered in South Africa in terms of a 2-1 Test series defeat and a 3-0 ODI whitewash? So now that I wouldn't say West Indies is the strongest team on planet Earth right now,
Correct.
and I'm sure Dev Tyagi will wholeheartedly agree with that. Uh, but do you think that India playing West Indies in India is reason enough to, like, sort of, how should I put it, forget the mishaps of the South African tour, or do you think that this is not the true test of India in terms of coming out of that depth of adversity that they were put in by the Proteas?
No, of course not. I feel that somewhere there was a lot of uncertainty in the Indian team when they were in South Africa. Change of captain and key players missing out a few games. There was nobody to lead them properly. So I think they would address all those issues now, and of course it is not a test of their capabilities, but yes, it is advantage India because it is home ground, and considering that they'll be playing West Indies at the moment. If it was Australia or England, then things would have been different. That way.
Right.
And also, I don't know. I have a feeling that the Indian pitches are suited to spin, and I
West
doubt
Indies
West
aren't the
Indies.
best players of
Yes, they
spin
don't have the
anymore.
best spinners in their team. So, and I think even they have two spinners, but they are young talents. They're not.
Akil
They don't,
Hussain.
yeah, and they don't have that
Yeah.
experience behind them.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
and probably that again says advantage India.
And just to add to
Hmm.
Sidharth's point here, the last time around when we unleashed our triumvirate of
Correct.
spinners on the West Indies, including Jadeja, Chahal, I believe, and
Yeah.
Kuldeep Yadav, the latter, Kuldeep Yadav, that is, he ended up taking a hat trick. And that was his first hat trick in white ball cricket, and it was an incredible one. West Indies found themselves in all spots of bother. They usually do find themselves challenged when they play spin any which ways. But this time, in their spin department, there is the presence of Akil Hussain,
Hussain, yeah,
and he was the most economical and the most successful bowler in the recent T20 World Cup. His showings with the bat have improved. He hammered 4 sixes
yeah,
in the final.
as an all rounder is a good
Yeah,
find
he's
for West Indies.
all rounder. He's a good pick, as brother said, and I think expect some fight and some fireworks.
So Dev,
I think
are you hinting that Akila ही काफी है इंडिया के लिए?
अकेला ही काफी पड़ेगा.
Yeah, also,
Yes.
another thing, Pranay, what I feel is that
Yeah.
the players, the West Indies experienced players, they
Hmm.
have seen the likes of the spinners, the Indian spinners in the IPL and all. So they have a fairly good idea how
Yeah.
they would,
Sense of-
how they would tackle them.
Yeah.
But since the West Indies spinners are new, the Indians haven't played them, so probably that how do you call it? A newness kind of a thing would be there, which it will be difficult for them to understand initially. I feel.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking about new, this question is to both of you. Now that there is a new captain, so to speak, who's in a more permanent role in Rohit Sharma, who hasn't experienced the mishaps of South Africa, do you think that that'll have a big positive effect on the Indian team?
I think yes. As a group, they would perform better because, as I said earlier, in South Africa, they didn't have any idea who's leading them, who's injured, who's not injured. There were too much of uncertainty. Now, at least Rohit Sharma being a permanent captain, things would be would be a little better in the team.
Dave, you?
Absolutely, I think when I with all due respect to the charisma of Kohli and the legendary record he's had, when you look at Rohit Sharma, you just feel that in terms of pressure, he handles himself better. He
Better.
just oozes this feeling. I'm not the biggest fan of Mumbai Indians. I've always been a Rajasthan Royals fan, but whenever I've seen Rohit Sharma's captaincy in the MI games, he's really able to rotate his players. He knows
Yeah. That-
whom to attack with, whom to defend with. I think he just analyzes the match situation better. He and Pant in a way have very similar brains.
Yeah.
They can
Mhm.
suddenly go on an all-out attack, and they just deploy the forces really well. So I think Rohit Sharma's captaincy, his assessment of a team which he has hammered brutally with the bat
Mm.
in the past. He's made some splendid 50s and hundreds against the West Indies. So I think
Mm.
plus he's played with Pollard. He's been a critical member under
Yes.
him in MI.
Correct.
So
So
he
he would understand.
understands Pollard's
Yeah.
psyche. And
Mm.
he also understands that when you flight the ball in and when you bring
Mm.
the ball in, Pollard's perhaps not the best player of spin to take nothing away from the Giants' 6 consecutive sixes.
Yeah.
So I have full
Mm.
confidence in Rohit's abilities.
So speaking about Pollard, the opposition captain, what does he have to prove coming to India as the leader of West Indies?
Never before this moment has the captaincy of Pollard been, asked all sorts of questions as what we find today. Never before has Pollard perhaps found himself to be as cornered as what he finds himself as where he finds himself today. There have been questions leveled on the abilities of the head coach, Mr. Phil Simmons, who was an international cricketer in his day. Um,
A
Kyron
very
Pollard is
fit Phil
still
Simmons also, if I may add.
fit Phil Simmons, who's perhaps not unfriended Hetmeyer for on fitness grounds on Facebook, but we don't know about that. So Pollard is aware that the last time he came to India, um, he was personally in good form with the bat, but not his leadership. He's somebody who we never expected would face the nightmare of having participated in a series where at the end of which he would say it's the darkest day for West Indies cricket, referring to the recent ODI series loss to Ireland. Which and huge kudos to Ireland, by the way, for putting up a stellar
Mm.
show. So and then to come back, but then to come back with the magnanimous 3-2 series win against England,
England. Yeah. And
Yeah.
world champion.
world champions. But they did miss Joss Butler. They did miss the likes of Alex Hales, who any which ways, one of
Johnny
the
Baistro, they missed a lot of
they
talent,
missed
yeah.
a lot of players, but
Mm.
still,
Chris
you could
Stokes,
say
Ben Stokes.
not the strongest West Indian side made up for
Yeah, true.
the battle against Ireland. So Pollard has tasted in a short amount of time agony and ecstasy as he now plunges into this massive India challenge. He knows that something big is out there for him. It's like the
Right.
elephant in the room. You have to address it. The criticality of the captain's role. And there are many people who've already started calling that Nicholas Pooran should
Yeah.
start grooming him
Him
to
for
be the leader.
captain, yeah.
Similarly, there are some in India who feel. I have a lot of friends. I talk to them. They say Pant ko captain banao, and I somewhere feel that they're not wrong. Just for example, so that Rohit Sharma doesn't get pressure
Correct.
of all three formats. So I think split captaincy is the way to go. But coming back to your question, Pollard the captain, Pollard the batsman has to deliver. And there are no excuses this time. You can't cut corners. Essentially, your batting is going to revolve around Hope, yourself, Puran. There is also the welcoming presence of Shamar Brooks.
Yeah.
2019, what we call the pre-COVID age. He
Yeah.
was here against Afghanistan. He made a beautiful 111. That was a beautiful century. That also debuted the only piece we have written on CaughtaAtPoint on him. Then he made his ODI debut, and he made a beautiful 90 something against Ireland. And then so Pollard has to. He's got a problem of plenty. But what he needs to understand is that his is a lineup which isn't yet steady. So classic to the West Indian constantly shuffling ways.
Correct.
They don't really have a settled playing 11. So I think that's where Pollard's test is going to come to the fore. How do you manage your players and which games do you play them, which you don't? So that for me is the big Pollard challenge.
No, I
Right.
also feel that he would be a little bit more comfortable here because out of 12 months, they spend almost 2 months here playing the IPL.
A fourth
So
of a year they spend here.
Yeah, so they
Three months.
understand the Indian conditions
Half a
better
month of
than
preparation.
yeah, and they understand
Yeah.
Indian conditions better than any other place in the world.
Yeah.
So I,
Yeah.
except for being in the West Indies, but I still feel that would be, as a captain, that would be an advantage to him.
That would be.
And he has played, being in Mumbai Indians, he has played in most of the places in India.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, guys, this is a very. Go on, Dave.
So, are you personally excited for this series, or since South Africa is not playing in the India West Indies series, you're not going to watch it?
Can I say something? This is my personal observation about West Indies that when they have a star-studded team and when they're expected to win, they always disappoint. And when
Correct.
people don't expect much of them, they actually hit the roof. So I'm actually a little excited to see the way West Indies performed against India. And somewhere I'm also hoping that they do beat India, which will be phenomenal for them.
That they do beat India.
India, yeah.
Yeah.
It will be phenomenal
Onerous challenge.
at least for their
Psyche and their
confidence.
confidence. Yeah.
Yes. It's going to be it's going to be big for them.
Yeah. So, guys, I had a
I
question.
still feel there'll be a fight. It will not be a whitewash kind of a thing, but yes, I still feel there will be a fight.
Yeah, I just
because
hope that
because
we
you
don't
know
walk over
you
them.
have all new players. See,
They
a
don't
lot
know
of-
Brandon King. They haven't
Correct.
played Akil
Yeah.
Hussain.
correct.
So,
They've
That
only
is
seen
advantage for
yeah,
them.
for us Indians. Yeah.
that's exactly what I was coming to from an IPL point of view. While IPL is known to unearth a lot of good Indian talent, do you also
Correct.
feel that because there's so many Indian players who come in, like they play with all these stalwarts of international cricket, they're bound to be a little found out when the touring teams come to India?
That can happen. Yes. That definitely can happen. And at the end of the day, it's not Test cricket. We're not going to see any of the
Hmm.
5-day cricket where you can just settle in, just take your own time, bat session by session, take one session at a time. But I would again say the old cliched thing, Pranay, that it's what you do and how your team performs on that very day which is
Yeah.
going to define you. Like last time around, we didn't expect around Diwali there was this massive ODI game where the West Indies drew level the series. We tied a match. Shea Hope made a sparkling century in that ODI. On
Hmm.
the other hand, Kohli was in sensational form. We never expected the ODI series. It was 5-game series. We never expected to have a tight game. So you never know what the tide could bring this time around. But I would want to focus a bit on one player who's making his comeback into international arena in the Indian colors, Kuldeep Yadav. The last time the West Indians played him, they conceded a hat trick. They offered him a riveting hat trick. I've just got some numbers. He's bowled 580 overs in 50 over cricket. Of his 107 wickets, guess the team he's taken most wickets against.
Don't tell me
It's West Indies. He has taken 24 wickets against the West
Wow,
Indies,
that's
which
almost
is
25%.
against Australia. The guy's taken 23 wickets, so he's no lame pushover. We already know that. And best for 3 for 41, of course, that magical spell. And his bowling economy against Windies is 4.8, which is
Wow.
remarkable in 5-day cricket. And is it safe to say that this is possibly the last chance for him to redeem himself?
Yes, I think so.
With Chahal already having been
Yeah.
given the comeback opportunity.
Yeah, so I think it will be a good opportunity for Yadav. I see. Last time when they played him, even he was new. Probably they hadn't played him so much in
Yeah,
the
they
IPL or
hadn't.
something.
Yeah,
So since these guys get so much of exposure in IPL, all these international players who are coming here, they understand
The most
bowlers,
guys who
yeah.
played him are no longer part of West Indies.
Correct.
There's no Russell, there's no Gale, there's no Narayan.
Correct.
Holder didn't play that year's IPL at all, almost. So yeah, I still feel though that Pranay, and this is like it's not like a question or something. It's more like a generic statement. Possibly the one player West Indies could have considered to bring to India would have been Carlos Brathwaite. And that's not because the team is just unsettled. They've got an extraordinary amount of talent in the squad. They are yet to test everyone together consistently, for 2-3 games together. But Brathwaite, he's not old, yeah. He's still a young chap, fairly young chap in that sense, and
He's played considerable amount of cricket in India.
considerable amount of cricket, and he's been their T20 captain at one point of time,
Correct.
even though it was for a short stint. And it's been a few seasons put together where we've heard of Brathwaite. So there were the 4 sixes, then the amazing century in the 2019 World Cup.
World Cup. Correct.
In between, some innings, some good spells here and there. Pretty much, then he moved to England to county cricket. He was playing white ball cricket, county cricket. Um, there hasn't been any kind of a reckoning for Brathwaite in West Indian colours. So, I mean, I think I miss seeing Carlos Brathwaite in West Indian jersey.
Hmm.
I somehow feel West Indies as a team has been very disorganized in the last
Yeah,
8
that's
9
true.
years. There's problems with the board. There's internal issues. So I think probably this is the right time for them to regroup and
Yeah,
as you rightly
and
said,
build for
young and
this World Cup.
yes, and getting new younger people, new talents. I think it's going to be a good team building thing for them as well.
And so, mind you, guys, India is not very high on confidence right now. So this is the
Not
best time to go for the kill.
Great opportunity for them to.
Yeah, yeah.
to play on the low confidence of the Indian team.
Yeah.
And by the
Mm.
way, I think West Indies would be slightly higher on
Confidence.
that
Yeah, yeah.
ground because they have
So
beaten England.
West
So
Indies is coming from winning series, whereas India is coming from 2 series defeats. So
not two series defeat,
2 series defeats.
whitewash.
Huh, yeah, I mean, always love the term, but I was just trying to be a little humble here, modest. Okay,
So,
so
when you say Shimron Hetmeyer has not been brought because of fitness issues, I thought he's one of the most
He's one of the most lively and bubbly
live, yeah,
characters, but I don't know. I think it's kind of his fitness is somewhere in the gray area. The only thing which we know, and I followed as a West Indian spectator of late, is that there's been one word thrown out there in the media that he's letting himself down and hence the team down.
okay,
Now, my question is, with all due respect to the Honorable Phil Simmons, you don't sport six-pack abs yourself.
correct,
Kyron Pollard is not the
not at
fittest
all,
anymore.
not at all.
Perhaps the fittest current cricketer in the West Indian unit is Jason Holder
Hmm.
and Sheldon Cottrell. Very agile, very fit,
Very fit, yeah.
still very very ambitious cricketers. One still growing, one having reached that premier all round stage. But if you want to just curtail Shimon Hetmeyer, even though for the right reasons of his weight, would you not then assign a nutrition and a mental coach with him 24/7?
Of
Would you
course,
not want to
and losing out on
against India? In India, he's hit centuries everywhere. He's made rapid runs. Even he made that beautiful half century 2019 World Cup. One of the most underrated innings was what Hetmeyer played alongside Chris Gayle in that ODI loss
correct,
to New Zealand.
correct.
Suddenly, the top order was gone. Hope was gone for a very cheap score. And then in came Hetmeyer, just kind of repaired the innings, gave the impetus to Carlos Brathwaite to play the destructor down the order. So, do you not want to save a career which is fading away, according to you, because he's put on extra oodles of weight, or do you just want him and the this frailing image of a cricketer who's not fit take the media by storm? So, what coach are you? Are you concerned about a talent that he's put on weight, or are you somebody who's just happy being the horse whipper?
Yeah,
So that's something the West Indies
Mm.
have to. Another thing which and just brings me back to the point you were saying earlier about Pollard. So there have also been questions raised, and these were basically just whimsical rumors here. People said that there was a rift between him and Odion Smith, the big hitting all rounder. The fact that suddenly he wasn't included in one of the T20s in Barbados against England. And then everything was just kind of dumbfounded. They just said that we know which team to pick on that particular
correct.
day. So it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that Pollard's got a riff, but again, these are issues which West Indies don't want
To
to
come up
hang out
at
with.
the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because they're already treading on very
they're on
shaky
tricky
Thin
ground.
ice,
waters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
thin water, yeah. Guys, I have a question. What is it with some teams, their coaching systems and their boards that if things are going all right, they want to do something through which things go off track? Like a classic example is also South Africa. We won the ODI series 3-0 against India. We won the test series 2-1 against India. But still, right now, when the team is on a winning momentum, they want to throw in the issues, the off-field politics surrounding Coach Mark Boucher with that whole
Yeah.
social justice, nation building exercise. So, similarly for West Indies, if things are going up, why do they make statements like, which is sort of demoralizing for the team?
I don't know. It's sad because they have, honestly, if you hang out with the West Indians, the normal public on Facebook, as I do, you would realize they have the most crazy, most loving, yet most divisive fans. Like there is a Facebook group that Shea Hope is a Barbadian.
Hmm.
So it's almost like reinstating the fact that Shea Hope is a Barbadian first,
And
and
then
next he's a West Indian. There were no such things when Viv used to play, when Clive Lloyd was there, even when
Hmm,
Brian
hmm,
Lara was there.
hmm.
There was no Trinidadian lobby which just said that Brian Lara is a
he's a
Trinidadian.
Trinidadian, correct.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
just played for the collective identity, the love of West Indies. And I feel somewhere that love needs to come through. Somewhere everybody needs to perform for the unique identity which West Indies is, because without them, cricket is a bit empty. Yeah, they never sledge. If you notice, you will
No, they
never
don't.
have you never have a regrettable incident with the West Indies.
Yeah, yeah,
Only
they
thing
don't.
being that they will cheat the fans, that in a test match they will get out on the third day, the match would be over. So 2 days, the fans would be playing PS4. The
Yeah,
guys would be playing video games in the hotel room. That's the worst that they do. So we need a more collective, a more unified West Indies, and that's another challenge which Pollard should harbor. But as a player, as a captain rather, his performances have risen with the
mm,
bat, especially. He's As a captain, he averages 29, and as just purely as a batsman, he was averaging 24. So that's kind of an ascension, which is a much needed one. And so let's expect a great series to happen.
right.
Key players for India in this series. Key players who you think are gonna add
I think
a lot of excitement.
we should start with Rohit Sharma. He was not part of the South African series, so I think he should be one of the main players to look out for. And
Absolutely.
also, everybody is also expecting a lot from Kohli since he's not.
The 71st
Yeah, and since he's not.
100. When is it coming?
Since he, I know, and since he's not the captain, how he would perform
Is
without
it, is
the
it
pressure of captaincy on his shoulders.
is his
So I
shirt
think,
jersey already 71, or will it
and
now be
also I think it's a
72?
very historic match. I think 1,000
1000th ODI.
ODI, which is quite a
1000th ODI
it's a
that India is going to play
yeah. So it's a very
when they play
historic
West
moment.
Indies
Wow.
in the first.
The first this thing, yeah. So it's a big moment for I think India. So I think Rohit Sharma,
Right.
we should look out for Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and also I feel Rishabh Pant there. His
I love Pant.
yeah,
I've become
and
a
his
fan of
and
Pant.
his
Honestly,
going ahead, as you rightly said,
Yeah.
grooming somebody for being a captain of India later after Rohit Sharma.
yeah.
I think Pant is a very good candidate for that.
Yeah.
And a lot
Right.
of people also, there was a talk. I don't know how how good it would be, that a lot of people were saying, even considering Bumrah as a possible contender for
For
captaincy.
Instagram reels for Indian team, or for how to start friendship with Marco Jansen, and that battle was legendary.
Mm,
Just to add to Rohit Sharma's, I have some Rohit Sharma numbers here.
Yeah.
Against West Indies, 33 matches, 31 innings, 1,523 runs.
Wow.
His career runs are 9,200. A sixth of Rohit Sharma's career runs, guys, audiences, have come against West Indies at an average of 61.
Wow.
this is across all formats or only ODIs?
ODIs.
ODIs.
Wow. ODIs, he has more than 9,000 runs. Phenomenal.
9,200.
Wow.
the hitman, as they call him, and rightly so. Strike rate of 91. So
Wow.
that's something Akil Hussain, Jason Holder,
Correct.
Cottrell, you guys have to watch out
Yeah,
against
watch out
this.
for him.
Anything bowled short. I mean, people used to talk about Ponting's pull shots of the front of the front foot. I think Sharma does the same sometimes.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Great batsman, and
And I'm sure
yeah, I
Kohli
think
needs support from both the Sharmas in his life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
what a line, what a line. ये लिख देना
Absolutely.
नीचे इस podcast के ये.
I know. It's a brilliant thing you said there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The one thing, but Siddharth, that I've been hearing a lot of late is the batting order of KL Rahul.
Hmm.
Not in the best of forms, not in pathetic form as such as well. Where is he gonna bat? People say until the next ODI World Cup arrives, he should be stationed in the middle order, somewhere at 4 or 5 or somewhere. So, do you think we have Rahul as number 3, or would you rather put him at 4 or 5?
I think he's a very stable batsman. Sending him as an opener or using him as an opener, I think is not a good idea. There are many other players who can actually open the innings.
What's going to happen this time around is that Ishan Kishan is opening alongside Rohit.
Rohit, okay. So I think then Rahul should be there at number
3
4.
or 4. So then who's number 3?
Kohli.
Of course, Kohli.
Yeah.
Kohli. How could I
Mm.
forget?
So, guys, from a quintessential Indian fan perspective, if India does beat West Indies, then do you guys think that India is back on a winning momentum, considering what happened in South Africa, or this series can't be a judge of that?
No, I don't think this series can be a judge of that. I think it will be, it'll be more of a saving grace for India if they beat West Indies because they have.
कम से कम उनसे नहीं हारे.
हाँ, because they have had a bad time in South Africa. Yeah? I think it was quite a terrible series for India. And considering the shusha of the Indian team, the kind of batting lineup, the kind of bowlers we have, so we have had a bad time in South Africa.
And I have one Kohli specific question for you guys. Kohli being the brilliant captain, the brilliant batter, now he's no longer the captain. So it's a very pertinent question. Why do you think Kohli couldn't get us silverware in any ICC tournament?
Just luck, yeah, Pranay. Because his own contribution as a batsman, he was never found wanting, except in the pinnacle of those games against Pakistan in the Champions Trophy. Those games notwithstanding, he's delivered so many runs. He's hit runs in every single continent that he's ever traveled to. So, and you can't even say that the team that he had at his disposal was a weak one.
No, it was a very.
When you have a
very good
Sharma
team.
opening the batting and Bumrah opening the bowling, punts in the middle, Rahul in the middle. What else do you want? Yeah. So it's sometimes that's just cricket, That's just cricket's way of bringing you back to your what do I say?
Equalizing the unequal,
Correct.
if that makes sense.
And also, I feel that any given day is most important for a team. How they play on that.
Yeah, exactly.
If I recollect, India was playing in the World Cup semi-finals. They were playing against New Zealand. The day
You're talking about the ODI World Cup 2019.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first, when they went out to play in the first day, they were doing exceptionally well. I think the match was called off because of rain.
Yeah, because of rain.
Yes. So when they came back again on the next day to play, it was a bad day for India.
It was a bad.
They just they couldn't do anything. But when they started on the first day, they were playing brilliantly well. Yeah. So.
A similar thing happened in South Africa also in the first test. They started beautifully on the first day of the first test in Centurion. Yeah. Second day rained and third day se phir collapse ho gaya tha.
Absolutely.
So,
but I don't know, somehow in South Africa, I feel it was the resilience of the South African team.
And somewhere I would say the overconfidence of the Indian team also.
No, but it's not easy playing the likes of Bumrahs and the Shamis when
Yeah.
they are at their best, you know. And South African tracks, it really support these bowlers.
Exactly.
And batting last and scoring
Chasing 200 twice was phenomenal.
it is not,
That's true.
yeah, it is not a it is a quite a daunting task in
with
my
Yeah,
Ashwin
opinion.
yeah,
in
yeah.
in the
Yes.
bowling.
So I feel it was kudos to South Africa. The way they
Hmm.
have played was just brilliant.
True. So coming back to India West Indies prediction time. So Dave, your prediction for both ODIs as well as
Oh,
T20s.
yet T20s we could concede to them. We could concede to the
यार
West
your
Indies.
V's I don't understand Dave. तू वेस्ट इंडीज के लिए भी वी बोलता है इंडिया के लिए भी वी बोलता है किसके लिए कंसीड कर रहा है
इसके लिए मैं W बोलता हूँ ना क्योंकि वो W से but that W is not always one you know it doesn't but I think India could I mean it may so happen you never know what West Indies team may turn up against you much like Pakistan before the amazing success of the World Cup the T20 World Cup came about it could happen that West Indies go down 3-0 in the T20 series or just beat us 2-1 but in the ODI series, I think expect fireworks from India. Yeah. I think Rohit Sharma is gonna be Rohit Sharma, and people are expecting Kohli to hit 200s out of 3 games. But since you've asked my prediction, I think century, 1 century in 3 games is on the cards.
For Kohli.
Yeah, and the Indian bowler with most wickets probably is gonna be Jasprit Bumrah. Who else?
No, I feel probably to be a spinner.
He'll go to spinner.
Yeah,
It could
maximum wickets would go
probably,
so
to a
you
spinner.
know,
what's the Ahmedabad track like? Is it going to be very conducive to spin, or is it going to be that typical Indian wicket that's very batter friendly?
it shouldn't be hopefully what England faced because that Test series was without runs. It was basically
But
India against Guru.
Yeah,
guys, you can't judge a test wicket with what they're going to produce for a ODI, right?
That's why I'm
Unless
saying
it's
I
going to
hope
happen.
it's not like a Test wicket because
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah. But the other thing one needs to consider is that considering it's happening in Ahmedabad, all the 3 ODIs, now whether the same pitch is going to be used for all 3. Because then the deterioration will happen unless they have 3
yeah.
different pitches.
No, I think they'll have alternate pitches there. I'm sure.
Sidharth bhai, आपकी prediction.
My prediction for one day international, I think it's advantage India, and for T20 is advantage West Indies.
So T20s are happening in Kolkata
Yeah.
and ODIs in Ahmedabad. So that brings me to another question. ODIs mein the BCCI said that there are no spectators allowed. And in T20, 70% of the stadium capacity. So why like this? Any thoughts on this?
because it's West Indies now they can never get 10 on 10 so 7 out of 10 आए हैं उनके I don't know it's strange are the COVID cases
No,
just
no,
not
yeah,
there in
no, no.
West
It's
Bengal
actually basically because of the COVID situation. Probably
It's worse in Gujarat, is it?
not as compared to West Bengal,
West Bengal.
or probably the amount of time people spend in the stadium. And I was probably
Yeah.
uh,
That could be that seems a very befitting logical reason.
yeah. So that could be one of the reasons.
but expect runs from the batter Shea Hope because he understands his role well he knows that he cannot leave the bulwark of the West Indian batsmanship of scoring runs on just Pooran and Pollard and Brooks, who's still very new to ODI cricket. They've also, by the way, picked, and I wanted to talk about this player before we wrapped up. Kyle Mayers
Yeah.
I think, is in the squad, and if Kyle Mayers is picked, this guy brings a lot of excitement. He started 2021 with a bang for world cricket by notching up that beautiful
Double
unbeaten
century.
double hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's something which legends
Against
of the
a
game
team which beat New Zealand in New Zealand.
In New Zealand, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
and at that team's own den. So that was special. And Kyle Mayers, if he's actually played a game, I think they'll at least give him one T20 to offer what he's got. He'll be slotted as the opener.
Okay.
So you will have either Hope or Mayer's opening, and if Hope is dropped, then potentially Brandon King
King,
and
yeah.
Kyle Mayer's opening. And anything bold shot to Mayer's, quite like Rohit Sharma, he's very quick to whip it, to just lift it into over mid on, square leg, fine leg. He's just very capable out there. So that's an exciting prospect.
But he hasn't played international cricket in the last couple of years.
Kyle Mayers has.
He has.
Kyle Mayers has.
Okay.
Brandon King hasn't played India as
Okay.
such. So there is almost I don't recollect Brandon King playing India all that much.
So the question one should ask is, will Brandon become a king in India or not?
He should. He should.
Hmm.
Let me tell you one thing. The most unpredictable team is West Indies. They can surprise you on any
Yeah.
given day, and it goes both ways. They can be bowled out below 100,
Yeah.
or they may just make a 400.
Four 400.
Like
Yeah.
this recent World Cup,
Yeah.
55 all out
All
against
out.
England.
Correct.
The team which hammered 4 sixes. Remember the name? The
Yeah.
Brathwaite team.
Yeah.
55 all out. So none expected that. But they're gonna miss Hetmeyer. This much I can tell you. Why? Because he's one of the best players of spin in that West Indies
He's
lineup.
yeah. That's the reason I was asking. Because he understands
Yeah.
spin much better than others. Yeah.
Hope, Puran, and Hetmeyer. These are three great batsmen.
Hmm.
Not great, but very good batsmen, accomplished batsmen against spin. They don't have one. So who's gonna step up? Who's gonna do the Hetmeyer role? Only Hetmeyer can in a lighter vein. In a lighter vein too. But
Yeah, unfortunately, I think West Indies wants him to run so that he can lose some weight.
yeah. The man with the most cracking one-liners today, who's not wearing the green South African colors, who's marooned because we're talking about the West Indies. So, anything else, guys, which we want to add onto the show?
Hmm.
What is your prediction, by the way, Pranay?
I think the umpire will raise his finger on every out decision.
Okay. That's a very, very conventional logic. Excellent. Excellent. Great, great.
No, honestly, I think that India is slightly low on confidence because they've suffered a massive defeat in South Africa. West Indies is slightly high on confidence with the England series win. So the cliche answer would be cricket should be the winner.
Absolutely.
I think we have a cracker of a series.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And guys, do tell us, what do you think of this episode? Drop us in the comment section below your predictions, your key players who you think will bring a lot of fire to this series. And that's pretty much from Pranay over there, and Sidharth Sharma, and myself, Dev Tyagi. Until we bring you another new episode.
We are doing the next one on New Zealand, South Africa.
Wow.
That's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Minus Keegan Peterson. He won't be.
Minus Keegan Peterson, guys. So stay tuned for that. That'll happen before the test series starts.
Awesome. Excellent.
See you.
See you later.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.